As most of you know, today we've invited a handful of innovative travel companies to present their product offering. Shorts is currently partnered with a couple of these innovators, and we're always looking to introduce new offerings to our clients, which makes this another great opportunity for this travel talk. Each company will have 5 minutes to present. We'll leave 1 minute for questions and 1 minute for a poll. And you can submit your questions through the Q&A button in the corner of your screen. If you have additional questions beyond the minute of allotted time, then go ahead and still submit those using the Q&A button, and the company representative can address your questions throughout the other presentations. So with that, I'll go ahead and briefly introduce today's speakers. We have Travis from Freebird, Michael from Flightsayer, Jesse from TripLingo, we have Sean from Solve, and Emery from Mozio. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and pass it over to our short speaker, who will just go ahead and kind of kick things off for us today, and that is our CEO, David LeCompte.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks, Kayla. First of all, Shorts, as hopefully a lot of you recognize, has tried to be an innovator in the corporate travel marketplace. We've been doing this for many years now, and it is still our goal. I strongly believe, as does everyone in our company, that the corporate marketplace is kind of slow when it comes to innovation, and I think there's been a clamoring for it for many years. I think a lot of companies have stepped up and have recognized that the corporate marketplace is obviously a good avenue to get their products and services in, hence some of the speakers that we have today. I love the format on this. We've kind of have taken it, borrowed it from Focusrite. They'll be given a quick 5 minutes, but unlike Focusrite, these are not paid. They're all speaking, or we have not charged them, all speaking freely, but these are products that I've found amusing or interesting, and we think you might as well. And I think with the survey at the end of each one, we'll kind of gauge your pulse on how likely you might be willing to use some of these products. But I think there's some pretty cool products here. You know, there's probably a dozen or so companies to kind of narrow down from that we think might be a fit for our clients, as well as I know there's some prospects on the line as well. But with that, I'll hand it back to Kayla, and hopefully you enjoy these presentations. We've tried to make a quick 5 minutes, so try to focus on that. And then we'll move along to the next one, and we'll get you out of here in the time allotted. So thanks, Kayla.
There we go. Perfect. Sorry, couldn't get unmuted there. Thanks, David. So now, as I said, we're going to try and follow our schedule here. So Travis with Freebird, he will go ahead and get things started, and then we'll progress through each company in the order that we showed you beforehand. But so that'll go from Freebird over to Flightsayer, and that will start at 12:12. And then Jesse with TripLingo will start at 12:19. Sean with Solve will start at 12:26. Emery with Mozio will start at 12:33. We will do our very best to stay on schedule. If I have to interrupt anyone, I might just do that. Hopefully I don't have to. But we'll try and stick to that schedule as closely as possible. So again, if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to submit those through that Q&A button on your screen. I will monitor those throughout and distribute those accordingly. But we will, with that, go ahead and get started. So I will hand it over to you, Travis.
Awesome. And just one question for you, Kayla, am I going to be sharing my screen or using the slides here?
Yes, I had planned on you going ahead and sharing your screen.
Yeah, I will do that now. And I'm just going to turn this on. Cool. And is that working for you on your side? You can see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. I'll get started because I know I only have now, I think, 4 minutes and 45 seconds. So I'm Travis Lowry. I'm our VP of Client Services here at Freebird. From a high level, our tool empowers your travelers who have suffered a flight disruption to instantly rebook themselves on any airline from their phones for free. With Freebird, your companies are saving time and money. You as a travel manager are presented with clear ROI beforehand and remaining control. And your travelers at the end of the day just get to choose the best flight for their needs and their business needs without having to worry about cost or airline. And that really gets at what we believe as a company, which is that simply getting to where you're going is really important. And if your travelers are not there on time, it's very expensive for your company. Travel insurance doesn't solve this problem, and we really think the technology can. We're a tech company. We're based in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and that's a really specific location. We're right between MIT and Harvard. Most of our team are actually data scientists, and these guys do two things. They build the product, but they also help us understand which flights are going to be canceled and how much it's going to cost to replace those flights. So really, they're helping us price our product appropriately. With Freebird, play a simple, upfront, quarterly subscription for the travelers that you want to have access to this. And a lot of people say it sounds a little bit like insurance. The financial model is pretty similar in that we are ingesting monies upfront to protect certain trips. If there's no disruption, that's the best of both worlds. Traveler got there, we got to keep a little bit of money. But if there's a disruption, we're taking some of those previously accumulated funds and purchasing a new ticket for your traveler. So they have 2 valid PNRs, and you didn't pay for a new one. That should sound pretty good because I think we've all been stuck in airports. The good news is with Freebird, no matter where your travelers are going in the US, we have their back. We protect against any cancellation, any delay 4 hours or greater, or any misconnection for any reason. So I'll walk you through what a traveler would see. It takes about 30 seconds. First, they're going to receive an alert on their phone. We have no app to download at all. So they're going to get a text or an email. They click that link, and they're presented with every available flight from where they are to where they're going instantly. They choose the best flight for their needs. There's no prices shown because we're paying for it, and then they're done. Everyone probably has a lot of operational questions at this point. I'll walk you through it quickly. 2 key takeaways. You guys don't have to do any development work at all, and every action we take is within Short's systems. So the first, we are applying Freebird to the relevant PNRs. Your travelers don't have to remember we exist. You sign up for who wants it, and we apply it every time they book a PNR. When there's a disruption, we'll alert that traveler. They make a selection. Finally, we're creating a new PNR in Short's GDS environment. So what this all means is that you're in control to decide who has access to this. You don't have to apply it to everyone, and we never rely on individual travelers opting in. There's also no lapse in duty of care, and our pricing is a simple subscription. So really, what you're offering to your travelers is, in effect, an open policy for your highest value travelers during a disruption, but without any of the negative repercussions that normally come with that. You don't have to worry about adoption or education. Compliance is really easy because our tool only opens during a disruption, and estimating the costs really clear and straightforward. And that gets at the core of the value of Freebird, which is when there's a disruption, it's very expensive. The most expensive piece of that, though, is your executives wasting time in an airport, salespeople not making pitches, recruiters not making conferences. With Freebird, you're ensuring that your high-value employees are getting to where they need to go on time, and they're getting there with minimum stress and anxiety. And that may sound a little bit like soft dollars. That's where all of those data scientists come back into play. So before you have to sign up for Freebird, we'll analyze your historical travel program and return with a review of the type and number of disruptions you suffered, the cost of those disruptions to your business, our recommendations for which travelers should have Freebird moving forward, and then we'll outline the costs to protect those travelers. So really at the end of the day, we think everybody wins with Freebird. Your travelers get to choose the best flight during a time-sensitive and emotional crisis. Your company is saving money and ensuring that their high-value travelers are getting to where they're going. If you got to go and sell this internally to a CFO or to somebody in procurement, we're presenting you with those hard numbers beforehand. And then finally, you as the travel manager, you remain in complete control throughout the process, no lapse in duty of care, and you don't have to deal with panic travelers anymore. So that's my 5 minutes. There's my contact information there. Happy to answer any questions now.
Perfect. Thanks, Travis. And you can go ahead and pass it back to me while I address some of these questions that have come through. The first asks, what happens to the original flight credit if an interrupted flight is rebooked through Freebird on a different airline?
Yep, that's a great question. So the Shorts agent would be able to go and either seek a refund or mark that as an unused ticket. You retain the value of that original PNR.
Okay. And then when you say free, you mean no fees from Freebird?
No, I mean, we pay for the ticket. So if there's a disruption and a traveler chooses a $3,000 first class ticket from Boston to LA, we pay for that. The only thing you pay for is the subscription upfront to protect the relevant travelers that you want to.
Okay. Last question that came through we'll be able to address right now. If the traveler requires first class, are individual preferences taken into account for the flight options?
Yes. We try to match cabin class. So if you're in first class, we're going to show first class options first, but we won't hide options that are only in economy. You can imagine a JetBlue flight. What we're going to do is we're going to flag that JetBlue flight that doesn't have Mint as a cabin class downgrade. The important thing is that your traveler is in control to choose the best flight for their needs. So they can decide if they want to stay in first class or if getting there 3 hours beforehand is better for them.
Perfect. All right. So I will go ahead and start this poll here. So the question I'm going to be asking, how likely would you be to introduce Freebird to your travelers? So I'm going to start that now, and I have launched the polling. So you guys can all take just a minute here and answer the question. As you can see, it provides 5 different answers. Very likely, where can I sign up? Likely seems like a cool product. Neutral, maybe someday, maybe not today. Unlikely, it's not the best fit for your program, or very unlikely. And if you are not a travel manager, you can answer the question as how likely you would be to use the product should it be implemented into your program. But this will be the question that we submit after each different session. So I will go ahead and end that polling now. But thank you guys for submitting your answers to that. And then Travis, for any additional questions that come through about Freebird, you can go ahead and address those via text. And we will go ahead and move on to Michael with Flightsayer.
Okay,
there you go.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kelly. And to save time, we're going to have you progress the slides here. Hello, everybody. I'm Michael with Flightsayer. Let me share a brief intro and we'll dive right in. We are a startup with 2 years of development behind us now, and simply stated, we provide flight alerts on steroids. With Flightsayer, travelers get all the standard flight information similar to those from airline websites or other sources, including estimated time of departures, arrivals, gate changes, etc., but with one major key difference. We provide predictive analytics in the form of flight scores, 1 to 10, 1 being good, 10 being really bad, to the TMC and the traveler at the time of booking, after ticketing, and throughout the traveler's journey. So they're dynamically, constantly being updated. Now TMCs and travelers are better informed and can act proactively to delays and cancellations with our alerts and scores. So no more reacting to delays, standing in lines, or being on hold for your TMC or the airline. Now TMCs and travelers can be proactive, redefining their flight disruption processes, saving precious time and money, making air travelers smarter and happier. The next slide. So the best way to learn about us is really to take a test drive and use Flightsayer yourself for free. Use it on your next flight. We have our website addresses for more information about our company here as well. When using Flightsayer, you'll get our real-time predictive analytics and flight scores on your next flight, or you can just search for flight updates at our site for free. Next, I'll share a quick overview of where we are today and how we display our flight scores and 3 key value propositions. We do have our website live and apps for travelers. However, we do not want to become just another app or website for your travelers to navigate around or to download. For TMCs and corporations, we are a B2B2C company. So we're currently working with travel management companies and corporations with pilot programs to validate opportunities for Flightsayer to proactively help and redefine the disruption management process. We have other customers and new pilot programs planned in our pipeline. In addition to corporate travel, we are in active discussions to deliver our predictions to 2 major U.S. airlines to help drive their own operational efficiency and reduce disruption costs. And we're currently working with a European TMC to make our predictions available to their agents at the time of booking to help their customers choose better flights. It's all very exciting, and we're getting solid transaction. So now we'll take a look at how Flightsayer displays our flight scores. So very simple. On the left, 1 and 2, you're going to have a very low likelihood of a flight delay. We provide these scores at the time of booking and throughout the traveler's journey. A 3, 4, or 5, you're likely going to be delayed 60 minutes or more. So that's when bad things happen with connections or scheduled meetings. At a 6, 7, and 8, you probably want to get ready to change your plans. We're going to push alternative flights and work with your TMC for those accommodations. If you're at a 9 and 10, it's probably too late. You probably need to rebook immediately. Our next slide, please. And here's a couple of looks at how we provide our alerts. Now, the one on the left shows a 6, so that's going to be nasty. That's a 1 to 2 hour delay. We provide a lot of contextual data, and in this case, we're actually saying that there might be a delay due to an inbound flight, and we're also pushing the alternative flights. So way more than those traditional flight alerts. So again, flight alerts on steroids, lots of contextual, enhanced data with our predictive analytics, which are dynamically updated. Our next slide and our 3 value propositions. Value proposition number 1, helping make better decisions at the time of booking, leading to lower downstream disruption costs. So whether you're 3 days in advance or 3 weeks in advance, you're going to find value in our prediction scores. Value proposition number 2, keeping passengers informed and providing delay predictions and alternatives in the event of the delay. So again, avoid those delays and better manage those disruptions. Value proposition 3, providing better and more relevant real-time information. So that enhanced data that we provide with our prediction scores. And then finally, the future is here. The value of enhanced real-time information is in better informed passengers and agents who have the latest information at their fingertips to respond effectively to disruptive flight events. So welcome to the future of booking air travel and avoiding delays. Welcome, Flightsayer. Thank you for your attention. We look forward to working with you and hearing from you soon.
Perfect. Thanks, Michael. And we did go ahead and we had a question that came through, so I'll address that now. What is your strategy to work with both TMCs and corporations?
So again, I'll reflect on the comment about our website, and our apps, of course, are available. But the real key is to leverage our API and our technology to work in concert with the tools that, whether it's Shorts Travel or some other company, might be deploying. So that's really the key, to work with being flexibility and through our API.
Okay. Another question asks, we already have a disruption process, so how can Flightsayer help?
You know, that's one we hear often, right? The good folks at Shorts Travel, the savvy travel managers are likely to already have a process in place. And if you don't get it, let me make it clear now. With our flight scores, you're going to have the true predictive analytics and the ability to act proactively rather than waiting for that flight to come in and say, oh, it's delayed 20, 30 minutes or canceled. So again, the whole feature here is enabled travelers and the TMC knowing our flight scores and the predictive analytics that go with those flights. So it's all about predicting flight delays.
Wonderful. All right, so if anyone does have additional questions, they can continue to submit those, and Michael can address those directly as we go ahead and move towards the poll here. So I will go ahead and launch the next question. And as I said, it will be the same question with answers, but we want to get your take on Flightsayer. So how likely would you be to introduce Flightsayer to your travelers? Again, we have the option very likely, likely, neutral, unlikely, and very unlikely. So we'll leave this open here for another 10 seconds or so as we get some of your submissions. Both of our responses have been close to the neutral and likely section, so we're getting some of that middle area. I am going to go ahead and end the polling, so thank you to everyone who participated in our second poll. And with that, I will now go ahead and hand it over to Jesse. Jesse, if you're ready, we can go ahead and get started, and I have given you control.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Jesse Maddox. I'm the founder and CEO of TripLingo, and we help companies when they've got employees traveling abroad. So all the unique things that are different about going to Tokyo instead of Texas. So these come down to really 4 focus areas for us. Make sure this is advancing for you.
Yes.
Perfect. Language and cultural obstacles. So that's kind of an obvious one. You show up in Japan, you don't speak in English. How do you communicate a food allergy? How do you talk to a taxi driver? How do you build rapport with the people that you're there to visit with? Cost savings. So there's some specific challenges around cost savings for international travel. Roaming charges. So an hour-long conference call can cost $60 on the average roaming plan. So that's an area of focus. Some safety challenges. How do you call 911 in France? Again, what do you do if you've got a food allergy? All these kind of unique obstacles that come up when people are traveling abroad that they're easy to solve at home, not so much in a different country. And then lastly, supporting travelers with tools that are going to make their lives easier, help them stay productive on the road. We work with all types of different companies. Really, the common thread is that they've got international travelers. So it's really industry agnostic, and you can see a wide range of types of clients we work with. So some of the key features, one is an instant translator. So it'll actually translate your voice. There's an image translator as well. You take a picture of a menu and see what's on it. So this comes in handy a lot, right? Again, you're talking to a taxi driver, communicating with the waiter. Popular and very easy to use tool there. There's a built-in phrase book that's got different versions of each phrase that you might want to say. So it's very practical. We're not trying to teach somebody fluency. It's, common things that are going to help them, again, build rapport and communicate basically in places where other people don't speak their language. And then finally, a culture guide, right? So if I've got a business dinner in Paris, what are the expectations there? What are the things that I need to know that I feel comfortable and also make a good impression on whoever I'm dealing with? We've also got a number of built-in tools unrelated to just language and cultural stuff. So one is the Wi-Fi dialer. It allows you to make free phone calls over Wi-Fi. So again, that hour-long conference call, instead of costing someone $60 on a roaming plan, is free. So that's a really popular driver and an important feature for a lot of our clients. Most countries don't tip the same way we do. So a lot of Europe, you don't tip in a restaurant, in a taxi you might round up, etc. When people and travelers don't know that, one, they feel bad and they might overtip because they don't want to cheat someone. And again, it also helps them kind of not spend money that they didn't need to. They're not trying to overspend, but giving them the information that they need when they need it so they can make the right decision. And then finally, the safety section is fully customized. So it's got your shorts travel phone number. If you work with iJet or ISOS, making sure those phone numbers are built in. A lot of times people carry around these pieces of paper that has all the information on it. If something goes wrong and you don't have that piece of paper handy, what's the point of even working with one of those companies if you're not going to be able to get the assistance you need quickly? We know that you've got a lot of things on your plate, and so it's a priority for us to make it really easy to work with us. So one of the neat things we do is we're able to get a P&R feed, and when someone takes an international trip, they automatically get an email letting them know that they have access to the app. So we just flip this on, and you forget that you have to do anything, and we just make sure that when someone's taking an international trip, they know they have access to it. This email's also got stuff like the local weather, the time difference, currency conversion rate. Again, the focus is on really making it simple for you because you got so many other things that are on your plate and you have to deal with. We love to do pilots with potential customers that are interested. It's really easy. We just send an email out to anybody taking a trip abroad saying, hey, we're looking at this new tool. We'd love for you to check it out. So it's really easy to set up and a great way to just to get some actual usage data. Like, is this something people would use? Do they like using it? Are we saving money with the Wi-Fi dialer? So we've set it up really easily for you to be able to check it out. And yeah, hopefully I came in a little bit under time. And again, thank you all for your time today.
Perfect. Thanks, Jesse. So we will go ahead and start with questions now for Jesse. So if you have any questions about TripLingo, you can submit those. We have one that has come through, Jesse. So it asks, how much does TripLingo cost, and how many countries do you cover?
It is $3,000 a year per traveler. No, I'm kidding. It's $10 a year per person that takes an international trip. So if you've got 5,000 employees, 1,000 travelers, and 500 of those people took a trip abroad, the total annual license fee for a full year would be that 500 international travelers times $10. And we cover just over 120 countries.
Okay. And can you also explain how the Wi-Fi dialer works?
Yeah, so the idea is that, when you make a phone call from your cell phone, it connects through the foreign cell phone networks, and that's where all the charges accumulate. What this does is it uses the internet to place that call. So instead of going through the cellular carrier and getting the roaming charges, it basically bypasses that. The call quality is great. Just instead of it costing $1 a minute, it's free.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Jesse. So we will go ahead and kick off the poll now for TripLingo. So I am launching that now. If you all want to submit your answers. Again, how likely would you be to introduce TripLingo to your travelers? Wow, already getting a lot of likelies that are coming through. But again, you can keep it to very likely, likely, neutral, unlikely, or very unlikely. We'll keep this open here for another 10 seconds or so. But thank you to everyone who has submitted. All right, and I will go ahead and end the polling. So thank you again to everyone for participating. And with that, we are now going to jump to solve. So I am passing it over to you, Sean, and you have control.
Sorry about that, I was muted. Perfect, thanks everyone. My name's Sean, I'm one of the co-founders here at Solve. I'm gonna wait to explain what we do. I'm gonna kind of dive in here really quickly. Kayla, I don't think the slide is advancing. Oh, here we go. Oh no, it has a mind of its own. Okay, would it be easier if you advance the slides? I think I'm having scrolling.
Yep, no problem, I can do that.
Okay, if we could just go to the next slide, that'd be great. So what we've realized is that there are a lot of really great services out there that make clients travel really easy. So if you're booking a service, you use an agent, a TMC, Expedia, Priceline, things like that. If you're going to the airport, there's private cars, there's Ubers, there's taxis. And of course, the flight is pretty simple. You get on it, you fly somewhere, and it's great. But what we really realize is no one's putting a lot of time or innovation around making the experience at the airport better. It's really terrible when you fly business class or first class and you get to the airport and you're just having a terrible experience waiting in lines for an hour. And it's just really terrible. Just next slide, please. So with that being said, what we realize is that really makes travel brands look really bad, and you could have this amazing travel experience, but it wouldn't matter because you're really not happy because you have a really bad airport experience. So your loyalty might go down, or your clients are just not happy. Next slide. So a really obvious example is a business traveler. If you're traveling for business, you're optimizing time. You want to be comfortable. You want to rest up for a big meeting, or you're trying to get to a big meeting. So it's usually tiring and unproductive, especially if you're waiting in long lines and you're stressing out. Next slide. So to kind of put that into numbers, Carlson Wagon Lit did this great study where they talk about loss in dollars per trip. That equates to about $1,500 per person per trip. And for larger companies, your consulting firms, things like that, that can equate to a loss of $7.46 million a year. So there is a really big problem here that we're working to address. Next slide. So with Solve, our mission is to make travel easier by providing affordable, expedited immigrations and customs services all over the world. And what that means is we're also basically making the airport experience seamless, so your client doesn't have to think at all. And on the next slide. And the way we do this is, as soon as let's just say you're flying from San Francisco to Hong Kong or something like that. As soon as you arrive, one of our greeters is there to meet you right at your gate, or your client right at the gate. They'll help with carry-on luggage, put the client in an electric buggy, drive them to the airport, fast track them through immigrations and customs. Usually that means a separate line, whether it's a fast track lane or a diplomat line or something like that. We'll help get any additional carry-on luggage, and then make sure clients get seamlessly handed off into their previously booked car, or if they need ground transportation, we'll help them get it. If you're in a place like Tokyo, we'll help you buy a train ticket so there's no language barrier there. Just making sure you're off safely, basically. Next slide. So why is that important? I mean, especially with business travelers and just travel in general, every single hour that you don't have to spend in the airport is another hour you can be enjoying your trip or just resting for a big meeting, which is really, really important. I personally hate the airport, or I like going to it so I can go to places, but I don't like to actually physically be there. Everything's expensive and it's just stressful. Next slide. So this may sound really expensive, especially because we have someone holding your hand throughout the day. But if you look at our pricing here at Heathrow, it's $225 for the first 2 passengers, $50 thereafter. Hong Kong, $250 for the first 2, $75 thereafter, and similar for Cabo. So next slide. At a few airports, we also have this thing called Airport by Invitation. It's really great for clients that, higher end clients. It's a separate entrance to the airport, private lounge, private airport screening, private immigrations, private customs. They're driven to the plane in a luxury vehicle. So it's basically a one-on-one airport experience, and that's available in about 40 airports. Next slide. And I guess the importance here is this service is widely available and has been for 20 years, but it's really hard to book. You have to find that person that does it in every single country. We're the first trusted, reliable brand that allows you to book this very easily online, and in nearly 500 airports worldwide. And next slide. And the nice part is if you're a travel agent, we do provide really nice commissions on this. We have support 24/7. We pay out often, and we are building out a Sabre Red app. So it's really easy to add this onto one of your clients' bookings, and add a remark in their PNR. And then if we could just skip 2 slides, then the next slide. And yeah, that's all. If anyone has any questions, my contact information is there, and hope to see you guys on your next trip.
Perfect. Thanks, Sean. Sorry about the technical difficulty there. We did have one question that was submitted. It asks, what airports does Solve have electric buggies?
So it's at most, if not all, airports that we serve, about 500. They are subject to availability, meaning, if there's an elderly or a handicapped person, they get priority for them. But if you request one, more likely than not, we can get it, as long as there's just, there's a finite number of electric buggies, basically. So it's just first come, first serve, and, priority to handicapped and elderly.
Okay. And I don't see any others that are coming through right now, so we'll catch up a little time here. We'll launch that poll, but if anyone does have any questions, again, feel free to submit those through the system. But I am launching that poll right now. So how likely would you be to introduce Solve to your travelers? Very likely, likely, neutral, unlikely, or very unlikely. And again, we're using this information, which we'll be sharing with the companies, but also using this for ourselves too at Shorts. So we'll leave this open here for another 10 seconds or so. All right, and I will go ahead and end the polling. So thank you to everyone for participating again. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Emery. Emery, you're going to be sharing your slide deck so you can get started. Hopefully you're still there, Emery. Emery, if you are muted, possibly we cannot hear you.
I'm not on mute.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Great. Thanks so much, Kayla.
Yep.
Thanks, David. Just to check, can you all see my screen at this point?
We cannot yet. All right, now it is, we can see your screen.
Great. Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Mozio helps travelers and travel managers manage ground and ground transportation. So thanks again for the invitation, Kayla and David. I'll start off with a couple of questions. The first one, to travel managers, do your travelers use rideshare? And I'm guessing that the answer to this is yes. But maybe a different question is, do you enable them to use this within your corporate policies, procedures, and allow them to book this very easily and allow you to report on it? Another question, are your travelers incentivized to use public transit or express trains around the world so that they can both save your company money, manage their own travel better, and access options that are friendly for the environment as well? And thirdly, is this a picture of you when you're trained to manage an event, especially the ground transportation from it? The truth is that the corporate travel ecosystem is complex. You've got an alphabet soup of TMC, OBT, GDS, PNR, connecting to different systems, whether that's third-party apps, your GDS, to the OBT for the traveler. And this is not something you, as a travel manager, should have to manage, especially when it comes to ground transportation. When you're doing it yourself, you also end up having to contract providers, analyze data from 15 different sources from providers all around the world, and then explain new processes to your travelers. Ultimately, it ends up taking a ton of your time and not adding a whole lot of value. So Mozio makes it much, much easier than even some existing booking tools, which are too expensive, lack coverage, and make things difficult for the traveler themselves. We can incorporate corporate rates. We make it easy to book. We have a global platform. We make it so you don't have to contract with individual providers. We offer a 24/7 ground helpline. So whether your travelers are taking luxury sedans and limousines, whether they're taking express trains, whether they're taking rideshare, it doesn't matter. We enable them to take all of it and for that to report back to you. So you have a clear vision of how your travelers are getting around, and you can help them to choose the best option for themselves. Whether your travels are going to San Francisco, London, Munich, or Oslo, we've got content in all those cities, and the content that you actually want, that your travelers want. So if your traveler wants to take a lift in San Francisco, if they want to take either express in London, they can do all of that using Mozio. The truth is that all travelers are different. Whether you're looking at one traveler who likes to book well in advance, or some travelers who like to book right at the last minute like I do, we offer options for all of them. You know, the planner type of travelers, the folks who like to book well in advance, will go through OBTs and GDSs, or may want to contact their travel counselors to make the bookings. And we enable that for them by providing pre-trip emails, by providing tools for their traveler counselors to pull straight from their PNRs and automatically book their ground transportation. And if there's a change in their flight, automatically update the ground transportation accordingly. If the traveler is more of a last minute folks, then we offer them the opportunity to book in trip, in policy, and to report back to your mid-office systems so you can see what's going on. Whether they're choosing public transit, private cars, or a taxi. We also allow them to see the information that's relevant so that they can make the best decision both for themselves and for their company to get where they're going on time, on budget, and as fast as possible. We provide them with the tools to actually make those bookings as well, not just providing information, but an actual booking engine for them to see. We also provide different ways for them to access it, whether it's through mobile apps, through custom portals, through tools on their desktop. We provide a variety of different points because we understand that every traveler is different and every traveler's needs are different. We also, as I mentioned, support travelers 24/7. We understand that as travel managers, you have the joy and the curse of managing hundreds of travelers in hundreds of different geographies. And so to support that, we've got support that is multilingual in every time zone, 24/7. So I want to talk a little bit about meetings and events, which I also touched on earlier, which has been something that we've been working on recently. And oftentimes when we talk to travel managers looking at ground for meetings and events, they often say, you know, I feel sort of like a headless chicken trying to figure out what's going on. And we help them get to the point where they're calm and in control. All you have to do is upload travel itineraries, tell us what you want, and we take care of the rest. We allow you to see the information you've uploaded, to choose the right options. We group the travelers intelligently, and we allow you to see the progress of the traveler's trip, so you know that they're getting where they want in a way that's duty of care compliant and meets your budget. Ground's complex, but managing it doesn't have to be. From GDS integration to reporting to vetting to corporate rating integrations, we allow you to do all of that and still make your life simpler. So thank you very much. Happy to take any questions if you have any.
Perfect. Thanks, Emery. I will go ahead and take the control back. And while I do that, I'll ask you this question that came through. Does Mozio work with small single location companies?
Great. Yes, we can accommodate any provider around the world. And part of the benefit of being a technology platform is that we've gotten used to integrating literally thousands of different transportation providers around the world. And whether they have the technological capabilities or not, we have tools that allow single source and single location providers to get onto the platform and to enable your travelers to access them.
Okay. We did go a little over on time with yours, so if you can just address those other questions that have come through, we will move forward onto the poll. So I am moving on to our next question, and I have launched that now. So go ahead and submit your answers here as far as how likely you would be to introduce Mozio to your travelers. And again, if you're a traveler, not a travel manager, how likely you would be to use it should that get implemented into your travel program. So we'll keep this open for about 10 more seconds here as we wind down. All right, and I went ahead and ended that poll. So that has concluded our polls for the day. Just as far as the companies go. But we're going to transition forward here. I had plans to introduce Find It and give you a brief demo. We are running a little short on time, so we're going to take the demo out of the plan. But I am just going to briefly introduce it. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Find It is our proprietary open search solution. So it allows you to search at 29 air and 22 hotel consumer sites, and with one click, pull the booking into your managed program. So it's a win-win. Travel managers, you get the control you desire while giving travelers the freedom to search at the websites they love. As I said, I did plan on demoing this, but we're running short on time. So I'll send out a follow-up email tomorrow. And if you're interested in setting up a 5-10 minute demo to see Find It, we can definitely set that up. However, with the last bit of time that I have, I'm actually going to introduce something really exciting at Shorts. This is our new duty of care platform. We are actually launching a piece of it this week, and that is our traveler locator map. So I'm going to briefly show you a clip we have here, just so you can kind of get an overview of what it looks like. So again, this is our traveler locator map. As you can see here, we've got our details at the bottom and our map at the top. We can click in on these traveler clusters. So I'm going to look at these itineraries here. So we have 4 travelers, and you can zoom in on the traveler's itinerary. Zooming out is really easy. It's all very interactive. You can use your mouse just to scroll out. And then looking here at a hotel itinerary, just so you can see how that looks. And all this information at the bottom here. Oh, and again, you can scroll out using, or zoom out using that button over in the bottom corner. But we have all our information at the bottom. It's categorized by type, with air, car, or hotel. It's also categorized by location, where they're traveling to, as well as date and time, and then, of course, the name of the traveler. We also have the ability to filter by date range. And you can also search by keywords such as the traveler's name. So here I'm going to change my search to the entire month of June. And of course, that will populate more travelers and more traveler clusters. So I'll zoom in here again and pull up one more itinerary for you to take a look at. But here we have another employee's itinerary that pops up. You do have the ability to email directly from this new platform. Again, this shows itinerary details, so it does have flight and hotel. And then scrolling down, you have the ability to see the full itinerary details as well by clicking directly from the platform. So again, that was just a brief introduction since we are running short on time. So in addition to the map, we will also be rolling out traveler alerts, reports, and two-way messaging with your travelers so you can communicate with them as opposed to just informing them, as well as communication history and data retention. So it's definitely something we're really excited about, but for today, just wanted to give you a sneak peek. And before we conclude, I want to send out one last poll. As you could see throughout the travel talk, we definitely place a lot of value on what you guys think and your opinions, and wanted to gather feedback throughout. So now we want to see just what you thought about this forum in general. So our question is, would you like Shorts to host another innovation presentation as we discover new potential partners? And so you saw 5 awesome companies today, and I think each of them did a great job. So would you be interested in seeing additional companies in the industry, later this year? We're getting a lot of yeses, so that's really exciting. I'll leave that open for just a short while longer. All right, and I will go ahead and end the polling. So thank you to everyone for participating in those throughout. That definitely gives us a lot of insightful feedback, and we really appreciate it. Since we are short on time, I'm going to eliminate the Q&A session. I have seen a couple questions that have come through, and we will address those individually with the companies if they haven't already addressed those to you. Or you can also email me directly. All those emails that are coming through to you, those reminder emails, those will be from me. Otherwise, they'll provide my email address, kmarshall@shortstravel.com. There will be a follow-up email that comes tomorrow as well, so you can email me any questions. Otherwise, we have our general sales and marketing email here at the bottom, sales@shortstravel.com. If you didn't catch contact information for a company you're interested in, you can definitely reach out that way. And then also to download today's slide deck, I'll have that posted here within the hour. You can visit shortstravelmanagement.com/happenings. And I will also send that out in the follow-up email tomorrow. And a special thank you to all the companies who presented today. And thank you so much to the rest of you for joining. This was actually our last travel talk before our summer hiatus. But we look forward to hosting you all on Travel Talks this fall. Sorry we went over by just a few minutes, but that concludes our session. So thank you all and have a great day.